When I first saw a picture of the Eiffel Tower, I thought, what's the big deal? Has nobody else noticed? It's just a giant pylon. Growing up in Te Atitu, when the suburb was new, spare and horizontal, the pylons loom large on the landscape, puncturing the neighbourhood space with their height.
They're actually a great weatherman. Well, they're better than TV1 and they're better than TV3. Because you can usually tell when it's going to rain, they'll start crackling. If it gets cold, they'll start crackling before it actually happens.
So in summer you had like the hum of the cicadas, and in wet wintry days there was the hum of the, equally as pleasant, the hum of the pylon.
My head sort of buzzes. It's sort of like a fuzzy feeling. It's like when you're really, really tired, but I can feel it. It's doing this, almost pulsating in me. So people who are sensitive, I mean, I'm quite sensitive probably because of the way I've lived, like organic and things like that. So you tend to be more sensitive to radical things. But it's just a buzzing, and I can actually feel almost like a pulse coming from them.
Bus. It's a loud noise. Hum, and the power station transformer goes hum, loud.
Me and my sister and the neighbourhood children would play around the pylons, swing from them, play house under them.
Who else would want to hang out there, apart from the kids? So there were no adults around, and I used to sit or lie down in the middle of them and try and line myself up in the middle of the square, and sort of look up like this and just try and get this wonderful kind of spiral action going. However, there was something about them that was perhaps a little scary, so they were supposed to be kind of a no-go area, which perhaps made them more attractive.
We would talk about a boy, a mythic boy, who climbed pylons and climbed them to the top.
But it was always one of those things that was just kind of around, which added, I guess, to the mystique or the attraction to the pylons, and the fact there was always a dare going on that who's going to climb it and who's going to get past, X number of horizontals.
Climb up to the top. Up those ladders up the top. Used to climb them when I was little. Down Napier and Hawke's Bay, I'm running away from Hope Farm School. Look at the views, look at the bolts, what colour, the bolts in Hawke's Bay, they're blue, bright blue. Down in Howick and Pakuranga, pylons in south of Pakuranga. And Hunua and Redart Road. Over Hawke's Pylons, Redart Road, and climb them. And one in Blockers Bay Beach used to climb up, one in Blockers Bay Beach. Big one in Blockers Bay Beach. Big one there, like that one, big one in Blockers Bay Beach.
I would listen to the crackle of the power on the lines and wonder how it got there.
We put our electricity into the system at 220 kV, goes to what we call the national grid, and we have substations around the place that then direct that to other areas of the country, to other smaller substations that break the voltage down further. It's just a distribution network. Pylons blossom the landscape, and we need some alternative, even if it is expensive. But that's my opinion, of course.
So the pylons carry the wires that carry the power harvested from the lakes and rivers. The national grid was extended throughout the decades, but back in the 70s, the pylons inhabited wasteland, land on the edges of other things.
Suddenly, when we see pylons in the city or see pylons in the country, that whole amazing invisible network is suddenly visible, suddenly exposed. And so we had this amazing, it's almost like an architecture of electricity. Cities that have these large-scale energy infrastructures have pylons coming into them. So to me, you have this amazing sight coming over the Bombay Hills, and there are the pylons marching down the hills alongside the motorway, and it's really a visible sign of the energy that Auckland needs, of Auckland kind of pulling this energy into itself.
Cities grow, wasteland becomes valuable. In the sprawl, houses, people and pylons all jostle for space.
I think pylons have got a bad name. People say, oh geez, cancer, your hair's going to fall out. Not true. This is supposed to be our really big sucker here. I know we've never had any problems with it. It was actually one of the selling features, I suppose, for the house, because nobody else wanted it.
I guess most people who have choice wouldn't live close to them, therefore they could demarcate lower socio-economic areas, and they're often built on cheaper land, and the lines associated with them are visually, a lot of people find them visually polluting. Really, the lines are often low, and they're not attractive items in the landscape to most people.
We used to have neighbours next door about maybe 3 years ago. It was an elderly couple. They actually sold the house and moved to a suburb up in West Auckland with actually a full pylon on their back section. Not just half a pylon, but actually a full pylon. Pylons worry some people, don't worry other people.